Hi, I'm Melissa Nadworny, and this is NPR's Book of the Day. Few, if any, know President Biden better than his wife, Jill. And at a time when it's not so clear who the leaders of the Democratic Party are, the former First Lady, perhaps an overlooked leader, and for certain a key observer, has written a book with the inside scoop on Joe Biden's presidency. She talked with NPR's Scott Detrow about her new memoir, View from the East Wing.
This message comes from Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Wayfair. Outdoor seating, grills, decor, patio lighting, and more. Wayfair is your one-stop shop for home. Wayfair also offers installation and assembly services for a truly seamless experience. They deal with the hard parts so you don't have to. Patio season is here. Head to wayfair.com to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
This message comes from BetterHelp. Summer can feel like a sprint. Kids home, trips to plan, routines flipped upside down. It's easy to slip into survival mode, just trying to get through it. Then suddenly, it's over, and you're wishing you enjoyed the days just a little bit more. Therapy can help you slow down and actually be present for the moments that matter. With BetterHelp, you can connect with a licensed therapist from anywhere, on your schedule. Don't just survive the summer, thrive. Visit BetterHelp.com/NPR.
This month will mark 2 years since the beginning of the end of a presidency, when the calls for then-President Joe Biden to end his campaign for a second term reached a fever pitch.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
This month also marks the first time we are hearing about that period from the person closest to the former president, his wife, Jill Biden. She sat down with me to discuss her new memoir, View from the East Wing. You are walking off stage with President Biden after that debate.
Yeah.
And he turns to you and he says, I really effed up, didn't I? And you said, yes, you did.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
At the time, the former First Lady didn't think it was the beginning of the end. Jill Biden told me she never questioned her husband's fitness for office before or after that debate performance. But as the weeks went on that summer, it became clear to the Bidens that most Democrats disagreed. Biden dropped out of the race and quickly endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris. When he did make that announcement, you write in a lot of detail about that day. And you write about the phone call that he had with Vice President Harris that morning. And you say that when she was talking to him about when and how he would endorse her, you had to leave the room.
I was overwhelmed. I mean, it was, just all of it. The swirl of it all. How was he going to do it? When was he going to do it? What were the steps? What was the process? It was overwhelming. And Scott, you have to remember, he's my husband.
Yeah.
I love him. And to watch what he was going through and to think, he's been in public service. We've both been in public service for 50 years. That's a long time. And at one point, it just got too much.
So it wasn't necessarily that you thought she was doing anything wrong. It was just the moment.
No, it was just I was overcome.
Yeah, yeah. Vice President Harris wrote in her book that she felt like she could have had a better chance if she had had more time to run. And I'm wondering what your response is to that thinking of, should President Biden made that decision earlier if he was going to make that decision? Could he have helped as vice president?
I'm not a political pundit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's my answer.
When I covered the campaign, when I covered the White House, I was one of...
may I say, though, I did think she was going to win.
You did? So you were surprised?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I campaigned all over the country for her.
Yeah.
And I saw the enthusiasm. I saw the excitement. And I went to bed that night, election night, thinking she was going to win. I was shocked when I got up in the morning and somebody called me and said, have you seen the news? So I truly believed she was going to win.
I know you say you're not a political figure, but you know a lot about politics. You know a lot more about politics.
Yeah. I've lived it.
But given that, have you thought, Do you have a sense of why you think America wanted to put President Trump back in the White House in that moment?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Knowing how it all played out, if you could tell yourself anything during that 2023, 2024 period, is there anything you'd tell yourself?
You know, Scott, after what we went through, it was really hurtful. I think it was a dark period in our lives that people we considered to be friends or supporters said such hurtful things. And so to look back, it wasn't just me and Joe.
Yeah.
Look at our grandkids. You know, seeing them go through that and how hurt they were. No, I'd never want to go through that again.
There's a chapter in this book about a really intense week of your life. The week where you were shuttling back and forth between official duties as First Lady in France and Hunter's trial. Why was it so important to you to be in both places that week, to do this? I remember seeing the schedule and thinking, how can she do this? You're in France, you're back in Delaware, you're in France, you're in Delaware.
Yeah.
Why did you feel like you had to be both places?
Well, first and foremost, I'm Hunter's mother.
Yeah.
And of course, I was going to be there for him. But I also knew I was First Lady. And I was expected to carry out my duties as First Lady. And I did.
You wrote at the end of that chapter, in the end, working so hard to be impartial, we guaranteed that Hunter would meet the worst possible fate. Can you tell me more about how you thought about all of that?
Well, I think, the process was just so unfair to Hunter. And in trying to be so impartial, Joe, not interfering with the Justice Department. But then Trump got elected. He said there was going to be retribution. He said he wanted Hunter Biden in jail. And there just was no way.
He would have been sentenced before Trump came back into office. So can you tell me more about what specifically you were worried about what Hunter's fate could look like with a President Trump compared to a President Harris?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I don't really know, but I certainly don't think it would have been fair under Trump. And then when he heard Trump on the TV over and over and over saying, Hunter Biden should be in jail, Hunter Biden, that he was going to make sure that our son went to jail, it just was not fair. And we knew what was going to happen. So that is why Joe changed his mind.
He truly changed his mind.
He truly changed his mind.
You had about as close of a view of the role of First Lady as you could get, I think, before you got it. You're Second Lady for 8 years.
Yeah.
You were a Senate spouse for a long period of time. What?
Yes, long time. We're not going to go into ages here.
But I guess what about that role was different than you thought it would
Oh, my
be?
God, it was so much different because I thought, Second Lady's going to be just like First Lady, maybe a little bit harder, but it is completely different. Your responsibilities are completely different. The expectations, the security, it was at a much higher level. I saw Michelle go through it and did such a beautiful job with such grace and poise, and to see her thrown into it and how beautifully she did. I mean, it was amazing.
What's your advice to President Trump is term limited? Either way, there's going to be a new person coming into that job in a couple of years. What's your advice, Democrat or Republican, man or woman? What's your advice to that next First Lady or First Gentleman about what to expect?
Do it your own way. I mean, be authentic to yourself. I think every First Lady comes into office and has whatever she has determined she's wanted to work on. I had what I wanted to work on. Everyone does it differently. Barbara Bush did it differently than Laura Bush. Hillary Clinton did it differently than Michelle. I mean, Melania is doing it differently. It's her way. So each woman, so far, spouses, have chosen their own path.
Former First Lady Jill Biden, her new book is The View from the East Wing. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
This message comes from Thumbtack. Some tasks can feel easy, but home projects can bring second guesses. Is that noise normal? Is that water damage? Who should be called? That's where Thumbtack comes in. Just upload a photo or voice note, and it uses AI-powered search to match with the right top-rated local pro. So instead of guessing, there's clarity and confidence when hiring. For your next home project, try Thumbtack. Hire the right pro today.
The surreal horror film Backrooms is a smash. The director is a 20-year-old YouTuber, and it's based on his popular web series. Why is this online phenomenon taking off at the box office? We get into it on NPR's Pop Culture Happy Hour. Listen via the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.